Right now, the trend is short, tight, and cropped. So women's tennis courts don't have pockets. Even some of the big tennis brands that are trying to compete in the pickleball space, somebody who comes across from far away and says, I knew that was your brand from across the way because I recognize the colors and the aesthetic, and it's so different than what anybody else does.
So hey everyone, I'm super excited to introduce someone who's not just building a business, but she's building a movement. Our guest today is Heidi, the founder of Playly, a brand born out of pure love for the game of pickleball. What started as a casual obsession among friends quickly turned into a mission to make this sport accessible, enjoyable, and stylish for everyone. Heidi also believes that there's an athlete in all of us. Sometimes all it takes is the right paddle, a little push, and maybe a real cool outfit. And she's here today to talk about how Playly is going to redefine fitness, fun, and building a community through pickleball is so easy. So let's start, Heidi. Can you tell me how did you start off with Playly and how did it come into existence?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me. Playly started, like you said, with just learning how to play pickleball.
Hmm?
I was a lifelong tennis player and new to the sport. And when I first learned how to play, I was surprised to find that there weren't any good brands out there and no websites with good content to teach me more about it. And pretty quickly decided that that was an opportunity to launch something.
You know, I completely agree that pickleball has recently come into a virality, I would say, right? So how
Absolutely.
Right. So how long have you been in this business?
Well, I learned how to play pickleball now about 5 years ago, and I started working on the business idea about 4 years ago and launched the company 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago.
Okay, so 3 years, not a small time, right?
No, but it took time, to build, to develop the products that I wanted to sell and to build out the content on the website. All of our apparel is developed from scratch. We really didn't want to just take existing items and put our brand on it because we were very specific about what we wanted the feature of the product to be and the kinds of fabrics and trims, etc. And so it took time to develop it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, keeping in mind in the conversations that you have just mentioned, I'm sure that there is some personal connection with this game.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a lifelong tennis player and learned how to play and loved it right away and wanted to play more and have nice apparel to wear while playing it. And I was at first just wearing tennis apparel to play in, but that was kind of boring because I was wearing my tennis apparel to play tennis, and also some of the pieces didn't really work well in my mind for pickleball, and right away started having ideas about how I could build something that would be specific to the sport.
I completely agree because today, if we search in the market, we get a lot of accessories for tennis, right? But I'm sure that you saw a gap apart from just having cool outfits or maybe a good paddle out there. Anything other than the accessories, did you find a gap in the market?
Absolutely, yeah. And the gap is growing, actually, which has been great for my business. The biggest gap to me was in the pockets. So women's tennis courts don't have pockets. Generally, you store the tennis ball in the spandex short underneath the skirt.
Okay.
And that doesn't really work with a pickleball. It's a little too hard and scratchy.
Right.
So my squirts all have a special pocket that's just exactly the size of a pickleball that sits behind the hip. So it stays out of the way of your swing. And even on men's shorts, because we make men's as well, the pocket bags in your shorts or pants are always in the front. And if you put a pickleball in there and then you try to go out and play, you're going to actually hit the ball with the paddle. So for the men's shorts as well, the pockets sit behind the hip. So that was the biggest difference. That's the biggest technical difference. But the other difference that I mentioned that's a growing gap is more related specifically to tennis and general fitness apparel in the US. Right now, the trend is short, tight, and cropped. And a lot of pickleball players are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And don't really feel comfortable, bearing a midriff out on the court. So the fits of our apparel are a little bit more generous and comfortable while still being extremely stylish.
Okay, so I see that you have given a lot of thought process behind the designing section, right? So
Yeah.
could you tell me something more about the material that you're using?
Yep, we very carefully source all of our fabrics to be the nicest, softest hand feel. So it's really more like almost like an athleisure type of fabric rather than like a super sporty fabric, I would say. But they're all very high performance in terms of moisture wicking and lightweight and very comfortable. But they all have that sort of just really nice, soft hand feel so that it feels really good against your skin.
Okay, that's really amazing that you have thought so much about the players or the persons who would be, willing to buy something out of you, right? And great. I would also like to understand that, keeping in mind the type of challenges that you had in your, in your journey while designing your products, or while finalizing the final material. Could you tell us something about that journey?
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and I've had to change fabrics a couple of times to get it right. So the very first fabric that we picked for the shorts and skirts, for example, the particular fabric blend that it was not ideal for holding color or for holding heat transfers. All of our products have like a raised heat transfer like this, so with the branding on it,
Oh,
and that has to be heat applied. And so this original fabric wasn't holding it very well. Sometimes it would peel off a little bit. And the colors, like this is all printed color. You see here on my top, the colors also weren't holding very well on this fabric. So we had to quickly pivot and pick a new fabric. So that was one of the biggest challenges that we faced. We were dealing with, the issues with that original fabric and then trying to find one that would work better for how we wanted it to perform.
okay. So, to the audience out there, it seems easy to run a business, but, keeping in mind what Heidi has said, she has gone through so many changes, so many tests and trials, and then still she's, looking out to find out new products, new designs in the segment. So, hats off to Heidi that she's still trying to, get into the market fast, right? But Heidi, also I would like to understand something that pickleball is something that is getting really crowded fast. How do you plan in the next 3 to 4 years to keep yourself different from the market?
Yeah, I mean, it's really been fortunate for us that we have really established a substantial point of difference. Like I mentioned before, the pockets are a huge difference. The fits are a big difference. And then the third thing is just that we were developed for pickleball. Our primary competitors were developed for tennis and other sports. And even some of the big tennis brands that are trying to compete in the pickleball space, they really aren't doing anything to make their products specific to pickleball. They're just taking their existing tennis courts, for example, and saying, oh, we're going to hang a pickleball tag on that one. And now it's for pickleball. But there's nothing specific about it. Everything we do is with the sport in mind, from the fit, from the technical features, and from the designs. So you see things like little pickleball paddle-shaped zipper pulls and other very small attention to detail in our trims. And even like our color palette is very recognizable. I often, when I'm set up at an in-person event, have somebody who comes across from far away and says, I knew that was your brand from across the way because I recognize the colors and the aesthetic, and it's so different than what anybody else is doing. And I think one of the reasons it's so different is because I don't come from a fashion apparel background. So I kind of didn't come with some of the existing biases maybe that some of these bigger apparel companies and competitors have.
I really appreciate, the dress that you're wearing right now. It's something, it's very funky. It's at the same time being sporty, right? So I get what you're trying to explain over here, that the people are able to recognize your brand from mile away. It is a really good thing that you have kept your business or the idea at a very niche state where you're just focusing on the pickleball accessories. You're not diverting, you're not getting attracted towards generating a lot of revenue, but trying to focus on what your morals are specifically for pickleball.
Yes, although let me just say, if I may, that I've had a lot of customers ask me, would I consider developing apparel for other adjacent sports because they love the aesthetic and the fits so much. So, Playly allows us to play in any sport. And while we were born for pickleball, and right now that's our focus, I wouldn't rule out the possibility of seeing Playly expand into tennis or golf or padel. But when we do, it will be with intention and with understanding the specific needs of that sport instead of just hanging a tag on it that says tennis or padel or golf.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great. And, I'll also say that whenever you're expanding your business towards that, you are putting equal amount of thought process behind your designs, because that is something that is a USP for you. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
Right. All right. Can you tell me something that why do you think that pickleball is being, so hyped up in the market right now? Why people are choosing pickleball over tennis or any other sports right now?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly why. It's the low barrier to entry. It is the easiest sport to learn and to enter to play. I teach people all the time. I'm a USA Pickleball Ambassador, which means I've been designated by the USA Pickleball Association to help spread pickleball. So this is completely apart from running my business. I teach monthly free clinics to whoever wants to learn in my community. And everybody can learn to play. And it takes literally 15 minutes to learn how and be playing games, to understand the rules, to understand the basics of the game, and to be starting to play. Now, that doesn't mean that it's 15 minutes to master it, right? There's a lot of room for nuance and strategy and skill. But because it's so accessible to learn so easily, that's what makes it so popular. The second thing is the social aspect of it. So when you want to go play a game of tennis, you have to have other people to recruit to play with you. Mm-hmm. At my age, that's mostly doubles. So that means I've got to find 3 other people to play, which a lot of times is hard to do. But with pickleball, you don't have to do that. The culture of the game is that most public courts have something called open play, where you just show up with a paddle and you put it in the rack and you join in. Oh. And that's really great too. Pickleball really took off coming during COVID. Right. And people were feeling very isolated and alone, and they could go out there and they just knew the basics of the game, which takes 15 minutes, put their paddle in and start playing.
Okay, now that makes sense now, because I was also having this thought process, why pickleball? Now it makes sense that it's easy to learn, and I'm sure that there are certain basic rules that you want our audience to know before they're picking up their first paddle, right? Could you tell quickly some few rules for them?
Yeah, the first thing is please don't buy your paddle at the drugstore or on Amazon, from a brand that doesn't have any expertise in this space. Everybody wants to just get what's cheap to get started, and I can't tell you how many of these paddles I see snapped in half in the trash can next to the pickleball courts. If you're not spending at least $60 to $80 on a paddle, it's not going to hold up. You just, usually the price point is a pretty good indication that it's a minimally acceptable paddle. You want it to have decent materials, and you want to look for a USA Pickleball logo on it to show that it's been approved for play.
Mm-hmm. So these are certain genuinities or the points that we should focus before buying any paddle, right?
Yeah, you want to buy one that's been approved by the USA Pickleball Association. And by the way, they start at $60 or $70. You can spend upwards of $300 on a paddle if you're looking for something that's a little more technical and the latest, features, etc.
Okay, so could you tell us something about your paddles that you have, or the varieties that you have posted on your website?
Yeah, paddles are really not a big part of our brand. Our focus is really on the apparel and the accessories, because that's really where I saw the opportunity for differentiation. Honestly, the only reason I even sell paddles is because I feel like I want to offer everything you need to play. And paddles, of course, are something that you need, paddles and balls. But we only have 2 paddles, which actually makes them sell even better because they're good quality paddles. One is like a basic beginner through intermediate paddle called our signature paddle. And then we have a more upgraded paddle, which is our pro paddle. And it takes a lot of the decision making out of it when I speak to people about their paddle selection. If you go into a shop to look at the paddles, there could be 100 different kinds on the wall, and that could be very overwhelming. But for most people, one of these 2 paddles is fine. So a lot of people are buying our paddles because we've simplified the decision. It's a decent quality paddle. It's a good price point. And also they happen to match our clothes.
So that's a smart move that you have taken today, I'll say, right? Since you have mentioned that you are going to specialize, or you are specializing in the clothing section of your accessories, right? So could you tell us
Apparel and accessory.
apparel?
Clothing, yeah, and accessory.
Okay. So could you tell us or the audience a little bit more about the range that you have and what are the range that you're planning in the near future?
Sure. So we sell men's and women's apparel right now because we're still a relatively young brand. We only have a few styles in each across a range of colors. So for example, in the women's, our basic staple top is this tank top that I'm wearing, and then the coordinating skirt with those pickleball pockets. And each of them comes in at least a half a dozen different colors and mix and match. We also just launching now a new short sleeve shirt in a few different colors that also coordinates, because we got feedback from our customers that not everybody wants to bare their shoulders. So they're feeling a little more comfortable in a short sleeve shirt. We also have a quarter zip, which most people are wearing as sort of like an overlayer on a cooler morning. Again, it coordinates with the colorways. You can pull that off and then have your tank top on underneath. We have a pair of women's pants that you can pull on actually underneath the skirt for a cooler morning. And then they pull off right over your sneakers once you get warmed up. That's kind of the basic women's. And then for the men's, we have a short sleeve shirt, a quarter zip, and shorts. At this point, that's the range of what we have. What's coming next is long sleeve sun shirts for men and women's. This is a very lightweight shirt that you would wear even on a very hot day to protect your skin from the sun. So it's very lightweight and breathable, again, with all of our coordinating colorways. And then, let's see, in terms of apparel, that's about it. We've got some new accessories coming as well.
Okay, could you tell us something about accessories as well?
Yeah, so right now our most popular accessory is our women's Lulu tote bag, which is I designed it with exactly what I wanted in a tote bag in terms of the size, the shape, the features. It holds an oversized water bottle. It has cute little paddle-shaped zipper pulls. It's got enough outer pockets to hold all of your equipment, so then you can put on the inside a change of clothes, a towel, even your shoes. And then it can hang up on a fence with one of our carabiner clips. We also have a great hat that is ripstop nylon, very breathable, machine washable. It has our brand icon on it, just like you saw on my tank top. And the brim doesn't bend or anything after many washings. So it holds up really well, even going through the washing machine. Those are our primary accessories. We also have sweatbands and towels. And what's coming soon, we're just about to get in a couple of weeks, visors, because again, I got feedback from mostly women that some women prefer a visor over a hat, and they like the aesthetics. So now we're adding visors, and we're also adding a backpack. These people gave us feedback that not everybody wants a tote bag. It's a little more feminine. So the backpack will be more unisex.
Right. Great, Heidi. I really appreciate the type of feedbacks that you're applying on your business, right? So could you tell us something that what is that one of the feedbacks that you remember instantly that once you had applied in your business gave you the ultimate satisfaction as well as results at the same time?
Well, one of the recent changes specifically on a product, this is kind of niche, but it was still very rewarding, was I had a customer who bought the Lulu tote bag and then emailed us to say that she's very tall and that the straps weren't really long enough for her to wear it comfortably when she was walking to the court. And we had just finished developing a crossbody strap option for the Lulu tote, and I hadn't even launched it or communicated it yet. So we had a couple of pictures of how it fit, emailed that back to her and said, guess what, we're launching this actually next week. And we think that this crossbody strap will be just the thing you need to make that tote bag fit more comfortably. And she's like, this is amazing, and it matches. And she right away bought the crossbody strap to add to her tote bag and was very satisfied. So that really validated the decision that we had already made. that we needed to add the option of a crossbody strap on the Lulu tote.
Okay, so I'm sure you guys are now focusing on something that customer feedback is really, really important, right? And as soon as you start applying it on your businesses, I'm sure you will start receiving good positive feedbacks, you will receive more sales, and you'll be as happy as Heidi is today. Right? So before we wrap this up, I would also like to understand that if I ask you to define your product in one line and why, what would that be?
We sell everything that you need to play pickleball, and with a beautiful style, as well as all the functional features you need.
Okay, that was really amazing, Heidi. So I would like to inform everybody out there who's listening to us right now. I'm going to drop down the link to her website in the captions below. I'm sure you guys are going to visit it, and feel free to order something. And in the next few days, Heidi is coming up with new products. Make sure that you're staying tuned and going to purchase from there as well. All right.
Yes, and you can find us on playly.store. That's our website. And at playly.store on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as well.
All right. Great. Do you have anything that you want to share with our audience out there?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the team at TSM for having me. I had a really good experience with the podcast. They were really helpful in guiding me with some good questions and helping me to prepare for it and giving me feedback about what are some good tips for do's and don'ts for shooting podcasts. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the end result. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you so much, Heidi, for your kind words.